you all so much for joining us this morning at the Tennessee Small Business Development Center, bringing you this workshop in partnership with the City of Memphis Office of Business Diversity and Compliance. We are so happy to once again have Ms. Adrienne McFarland here with us to bring forth some great information. And without further ado, I will go ahead and turn it over to you, Adrienne.
Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here. This is, I think, our last informative webinar outside of Thursday's merchant panel. But today we're going to talk about all the meat and potatoes of content. And that kind of leads us up into everything that we've discussed about starting your store online, selling your product. So let me share my screen. So we have some good things to talk about. And by all means, I have a lot to cover. So if I go a little fast in the chat, just let me know, slow down, or so that I can slow down for you guys so I won't go so fast. But all right, so I'm excited. So welcome to creating and delivering valuable and relevant content. How to create effective and relevant content online. So today's tips can be used across various social media platforms, but knowing what channel works best for you is key when using social media. Asking yourself, where is your audience spending the most time? This is where you want to be with your business. So today, to takeaways that you'll receive, we'll be talking about exploring the different channels for your business, all the way to how to brand yourself online when developing your content. So making it big online, learn what people are interested in social media. The majority of Americans use Facebook and YouTube, which YouTube is the largest search engine outside of Google. So, but young adults are especially heavy users of Instagram and the big giant right now, everybody's talking about TikTok. So research says that 2/3 of United States adults now report that they are Facebook users. Social media usage has been surveyed, and the results by generation are very interesting, to say the least. To break it down, 84% of United States adults aged 18 to 29 are active on social media. This number falls slightly to 81% for 30 to 49-year-olds, and further to 73%, which is still a lot in my book, for those aged from 50 to 64. We're now looking to connect more with our families and our friends. And so with technology becoming a little bit simpler, especially with what we're using to view our social media channels, that demographic from 50 to 64 did not surprise me at all when I saw that they are definitely using social media, right? So US adults who are 65 years old and above are using social media the least. Of course, this is definitely something that's outside of their age demographic or what they're used to, but that does not mean they are not on there. So if though that is your target demographic, where are they spending most of their time on that social media apps? Let's talk about it. So young adults continue to be the generation with the highest use of social media and also the broadest access to smartphones. The older generation, on the other hand, are more likely to be using tablets. Why are they using tablets? Well, it's a bigger screen, obvious reasons, right? When developing your content, you're going to keep that in mind, not only when for social media, but also for your website. If you're developing a Shopify store or any store, for instance, they have the capability of allowing you to see your website mobile optimized, including your content, right? So you're going to want to make sure that you view that because it can look different across various platforms. It can look different on whatever device you're using when developing that content. So keep that in mind when to make sure that you check all of your content the way it looks depending on what platform and technology they're using to access it. Baby boomers are also bridging their gap with technology and are increasing increasingly becoming more familiar with social media platforms. Understanding this social media statistic will help you determine which platform could be of most use when marketing to your target audience. 54% of social browsers use social media to research products. More buyers are joining social media networks and looking for reviews and recommendations. That's why it's essential to have a prominent online presence on various social media platforms. The key is to find out which social media platform your target market is using most often and how to make the most out of it. Keep that as a token in your brain when developing your social media strategy and your content, knowing exactly where your target audience is going to be. And I'll mention this multiple times throughout the webinar. If you don't know your target audience, please contact your advisor and meet with them so that you can figure that out, because you don't want to waste time developing content on a social media platform and you don't get any type of conversion because your audience is less likely to be there. So exploring different channels, you have the freedom to choose your platform. Of course, we have the big three, right? Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. It's more than just Facebook out there, right? So you need to figure out which of the networks to join. Then you need to determine optimal messages, posting frequently, cost of social media management, integration with other marketing channels, and how to make the most of the billions of people who are hanging out on social media. To slice the confusion, here are the 4 questions you should ask yourself. Where is my audience? The primary question is to ask about social media. When asking about social media is where your audience is actually spending time. What social media outlets are they on? Where is my audience most active? Big social media numbers don't mean big activity. For instance, there are about 3 billion accounts on Facebook, on or daily active users on Twitter. Only 1.7, 3 billion accounts, but only 1.7 of them are actually active. I am guilty of that. I have 2 Facebook accounts and I'm only active on one of them. So the numbers are skewed, right? So this is the same thing for every social media platform. Twitter has big numbers, 330 million signups, only 145 million active daily users. People create these profiles and they leave them alone. They don't even use them. So the numbers are skewed. What niche social media sites are right for you? Some businesses are missing out on warm leads because they are absent from the niche social media sites. So you have the big three like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn with all of these users, and not a lot of them are active every day. And then you have their machine-based learning. So you have these niche-based social media sites like Reddit, like Pinterest, like Tumblr, that are specific to a certain type of demographic and product that you may be selling. And business owners tend to miss out on the warm leads and the cheap advertising because they don't think that they need to be there because they're not the popular ones. Don't miss out on the opportunity to do that. However, I want you to join the big three though. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, it's like almost like they're required, you know? And at this stage in social media, they reign supreme. So, regardless of your audience and your business model and your strategy, join them. Just make sure that you have accounts there. Remember, your target audience can determine which of these platforms are best for your business. And if you're a small business like a restaurant, a platform like Facebook could be a great place to start your social strategy because it brings community. With Facebook, you can build a business profile that includes links to your website as well as details about your menu. And of course, you know that you can also uh, have a numerous amounts of call to action buttons included on your social media, on your Facebook social media platform, like calling now, learn more, booking. All of those are, if you have a restaurant or any type of business that's a service, will be great. However, for service-based businesses, if you're looking to offer, B2B, or service. LinkedIn is another great way to grow your following. So yeah, you may have a little social presence with content on Facebook, but LinkedIn may be where you need to spend most of your time if you have if B2B is your target. A Twitter account could be helpful to companies in a wide spectrum of industries, like news, from entertainment to e-commerce. This platform similarly allows you to create a profile, of course, where you can list and link your company information. Twitter is great for driving traffic to your website. Why? Because you include these links and you can't really see much on Twitter, right? So it automatically drives people to landing pages. So, where should you start? If you have not already, choose a platform that works best for your target market. Create your brand profile. Who are you? Once you've decided which networks to focus on, it's time to create the profile and improve your existing ones so they align with your strategy. Make sure you fill out all profile fields, including keywords people will use to search for your business. You'll use consistent branding, like your logos, your images, across networks so your profiles are easily recognizable. A tip here is to use high quality images that follow the recommended dimensions for each network. You know, Instagram will not let you post anything if it's not a part of their dimensions. Even if you try to post the same content to Facebook that you do to Instagram in your business suite, it'll tell you that, hey, this is not the right sizes. So make sure you check that out, and do the same for YouTube, because the thumbnails with what your dimensions are will not fit and you'll have to start all over. So making sure that your branding is consistent, across all of your platforms is going to be critical with social media so that people can actually find you and recognize you. Check out our make sure that your page looks clean and approachable, and be sure to include all of the valuable information. Don't leave anything blank, guys, like the description, your contact information, your address if it's necessary, if you have a brick and mortar location, as well as the call to action. Don't leave anything blank. It lessens their trust for the customer. They're like, well, this profile is incomplete. Don't leave anything blank, and make sure, remember, that your branding is top tier and recognizable. What do you provide? Connect your store if necessary. If you have a store, an actual e-commerce store that you can buy products online, connect them to your social media profile. Connect your website. Include information about your services in your page. And again, where is your audience hanging out? What groups are they a part of? Do they like live videos? Are they news readers? Do they like to read blogs? Knowing who your audience is and what they want to see on social media is key to creating content. That way, you can create content that they will like, comment on, and share. I tell my clients, hey, a like is like a handshake, but a comment is engagement. It's like a hug. You really like this person. It's also critical to do this if you want to turn social media followers into customers for your business. So in order to convert them from just people that are watching your content to people that are actually purchasing from you, is when you have engagement, when they're commenting, when they're liking, when they want to see more. When it comes to your target audience, you should know things like their age, their location, their average income, their typical job title, their industry, and their interests. You're going to do this especially for the machine-based learning social media sites like Facebook, like the big three, because it's going to tailor content according to those demographics. So if you are a person interested in swimming, and you sell swimsuits, you're going to see that content just automatically because it's machine-based learning. So the more that you engage with that particular interest, the more the Facebook is going to feed you relevant content that they know that you will like, so that you can spend more time on your phone. People are paying for advertising. As a business, like a social media platform, you're going to want to have people in your on using your product all the time. What's the best way to do that? Feed them relevant content according to their interests and their demographic. So just saying that 20% should go to marketing is not realistic, but the biggest startups allocate about 75% to social media marketing. So unless you know your dollars and cents, if you have a high profit margin, like 80 to 90%, you can invest more than if you have a lower profit margin of 10 to 20%. A new startup needs to consider how much to spend on social media marketing. So let's say you have $100,000 in sales, just to put out a number that's easy. Is it worth a $20,000 investment in social media marketing? And you don't have to use $100,000 revenue profit as an example, but just giving you an example of what's worth the money. Internet is definitely a pay to play place. So once you start to get your organic traffic and the foundation laid there, you're definitely going to want to think about the pay to play option, where you're spending money to make your brand more relevant in different target audiences. But there has to be a foundation laid there, guys. You can't just go out there, spend money on ads without any foundation, without everything we mentioned about your description, your profile, your content, your website navigation, everything that we have went over the past couple of weeks. With developing your websites, your e-commerce sites, or your business, definitely have to be in place. The foundation has to be made. You have to do the work, and we're going to talk about that. Focus investments in a few targeted areas first when you're doing ads and doing marketing, and then grow into others as traction is gained. Surveys say overall marketing budget varies depending on whether you're marketing to consumers or to businesses. So remember, it's different there. B2B companies statistically should allocate about 2 to 5% of revenue to marketing, whereas B2C companies should allocate about 5 to 10% of their revenue to marketing. Why is that? I like to say that when you're doing B2B companies, marketing to B2B companies and are selling, it's a little bit more intricate. So I think a lot of the old school grassroots ways really work. Picking up the phone and actually calling to get sales leads actually works. So that's why I can see that percentage being a little less. Whereas if you're B2C companies trying to reach various consumers, there's many different channels that you can use, and so it's going to be higher. What should your social media budget plan include? If you have the time, content creation, software, tools that you can use, paid social media campaigns, influencer marketing. If you have the budget, working with these influencers, content creators is a good way to expand your reach of social content. So if you are developing a budget, remember that it may cost you to, if you don't know how to design content, you may have to pay someone, or you may have to have an intern use a software like Canva, which you may have to pay for Canva. So keep that in your marketing budget as well. If you want a better, I'm not going to say better, because you can definitely use the free version of some of the software. But if you want to upgrade and have stock photos including your plans, like if you want Adobe stock that costs about $30 a month, so keeping that inside of your budget plan. And then if you want to do paid social media campaigns, knowing exactly what your organic reach is and how much traffic that's bringing to your website can help you determine a budget of how much money you need to spend to bring in when using paid ads. So good design matters. Entice your audience with stunning visuals. If you didn't attend one of our previous webinars, we talked about product photos. If you're developing an e-commerce website, you definitely want to make sure that you take excellent product photos. You can do this with a smartphone today. You may have to have adequate lighting, of course, as well as maybe a whiteboard to provide a clear slate for taking the pictures for your product. But enticing your audience with stunning visuals is critical to building trust and great branding. So a great example to Why great design matters is like the Google Doodle. They change this doodle every day, and it allows people to visit that landing page who are interested, of course, um, so that people can see to entice people to visit their site. So I'm not saying you have to change your website every day or that you can't repurpose content. You just have to make sure that it matters, it's stunning, it's visually pleasing. So strong visual content on social media has the same effect as a Google Doodle. It gives people a reason to follow you, like you, comment, and eventually buy from you. LinkedIn posts with images have a 98% higher comment rate on average. Tweets that include visual content are 3 times more likely to get engagement. Facebook posts with photos and videos get more likes and comments. Great visuals are only as good as the social strategy that supports them. So if you are just throwing out visuals without any plans, without any foundation laid, you're going to be sitting at your content and wondering why it's not moving. Your creative may follow best practices, but without purpose, without narrative, without the proper timing of it, and other strategic elements, without these elements, you will be doing yourself a disservice. Again, best practices, purpose of the content, great narrative, the time you post, as well as other strategic elements like the content. If does the content look good? What does the copy read? Are going to be critical to supporting your content. Every visual strategy should include your audience research. Do some background on your audience's interest and think about what type of visual content they like to see. Maybe create a mood board, add content, color palettes, and other visuals that will help shape your direction. Depending on what platform you're using, like an Instagram, you're going to probably want your feed to look a certain way. So definitely researching the colors and the branding for that particular audience, because it is a younger one, is going to help you look more visually pleasing with your content. Mix things up with recurring themes or pillars. Make sure that maybe the different platform you're going to use speaks to this. Consider how you should adapt your visual strategy for each social channel. Make sure that your timing, again, make sure to post visuals on social at peak times. But think bigger picture too. Will you need more visual content around certain holidays? Remember, people are loving live video. They want to see more and have more community and do live shopping and shoppertainment this holiday season. So will you need more visual content around holidays? Definitely. You're going to want to make sure that you can crowd through that noise. Planning ahead will help. Planning ahead will help you better manage your budget and your production calendar. And we're going to talk about that calendar. So do important work first. Show people the purpose of your craft. Save time by being organized. Your social media marketing goals have a key point in common with many of other goals in your daily planner. They take effort and attention every single day, not just when you're feeling inspired or at 11 o'clock at night when everything else is done and you're laying in the bed and you're like, oh, I should post to social media today. We're all guilty of it, right? Planning out your social media ahead of time is going to help you manage your goals. So maintaining a social media calendar lets you plan ahead. It batches your work and it's going to avoid multitasking, and you're going to note down all of your creative brain waves for later so that you can go back and revisit them and make sure that your strategy is what's needed for the social media platform that you're using. Basically, it's the best way to make sure you'll never find yourself desperately scrolling through generic inspirational quotes, hoping to find something to post. Guys, a quote, I just want to highlight this, is it looks like you didn't have anything to post for the day, especially if you're not a brand that does it all the time. I hate when people say, I'm just going to post a quote today. It may not have anything to do with your business. It's just how you're feeling. And maybe you should have went live and said the quote and then talked about how the quote relates to you as a business owner. But guys, get away from those quotes just to feel in social media to look like you're doing something. It's probably not reaching your target audience anyway. And even though you'll be posting every day, maybe multiple times a day, that doesn't mean you need to be babysitting your feeds constantly. You don't have to sit there and watch it to, and I have to admit, I'm one of the people that when I first started doing social media marketing and building pages, I used to watch my videos like to see how, I mean, every second it would get me distracted from work because I would sit there and see how many views I got. You don't have to babysit it. So certain social media calendar tools allow you to schedule social media posts ahead of time. And just as important, manage audience engagement from one place. We're all saved now because Facebook and Instagram have developed business suites so we can see all of our comments, our messages in one place. And then there's third-party apps like Hootsuite and Buffer that you can use, that you can see your analytics in one place. So you don't have to sit there and babysit. If you have Business Suite, hopefully you guys have went in and set that up. We talked about in the webinar before, setting your Business Suite up and making sure that you can see all of your engagement in one place so that you won't miss any customer service opportunities, okay? Remember, it's not really about whether someone has time for your content or not. It's about whether or not they find it interesting. In a world where there is an enormous amount of social content, if you don't make someone stop what they are doing and create a response for them, you are going to lose. Whether that's an action or an emotion, the true test of storytelling is how you feel or what you do after you consume it. Highlight of emotional content. We love the videos when the military personnel are coming back and they're visiting their children. It draws us emotion all the time, and they guarantee get engagement. I mean, people like, comment on those videos all the time. They're not product based though. They're not pushing a particular call to action to visit a website, right? They're just looking for a social media like. But you can bring emotion in with your business. Maybe it's someone's birthday and you gave them a staff a Zoom birthday call or whatever. Um, Driving in emotion, but also doing something that makes someone have a swipe up, like an action, which I want to highlight again, the social shoppertainment this holiday season, thinking about just to make it a short example, like Home Shopping Network, and we all are familiar with them selling products online. That same concept can now be used on social media sites with live feeds. So you can go live, talk about the awesomeness of your product and your brand and why someone right now, giving them a motivation right now, without giving so much lead time. Uh, Go right now to my website, click the button right here on my social media page and buy this. So that's going to be really big during this holiday season. So building your brand on social media, what your company does, why your product is amazing, why should people support you, what makes you unique. Brand awareness is cited as the top priority for marketers in social media channels. There are one to many solutions for getting the word out about your products and services. By creating a strong brand presence on social media, you can reach a broader audience. What your company does. Humans are exposed to so many brand stories. The ones that cut through are the ones we instantly understand. We often talk about the elevator pitch to simplify complex thoughts when discussing our business. So imagine you're in an elevator trying to persuade someone to engage with your brand by answering these questions. What is your brand called? What is your brand about? What makes your brand different? Remember your unique sales proposition. If you do not have one, if you haven't created one, meet with your advisor to talk about this. As you craft your company's USP, ask yourself, why is your product amazing? What products or services you offer your customers? You're offering benefits to your customers that they can't get from their competition. Think about what you're offering your customer, who your target market is, your target customer is, and what problem you are solving for your customers. That's what gets your USP. That's what's going to say why your product is amazing. If you want people to really love your brand, they need to feel connection. This connection is what creates a strong loyalty that ultimately grows into customers feeling invested in your brand. One way to build this connection is through telling a brand story. As people become more ad resistant than ever, like skip ad, I do it all the time on YouTube. I'm doing it anytime I see it pop up. It becomes even more evident than irrelevant content. Even your ads, if you do decide to run them, have to be relevant. They have to make me drive emotion. They have to make me have a call to action. So even that particular content needs to be relevant and not irrelevant. Among all content types, from images to audio, which is big right now, videos, passive articles, we all read them, to interactive virtual experiences, there are plenty of tools brands can leverage to deliver their brand messages to their audience. Nevertheless, you can craft the most brilliant and informative content ever, but it will be useless if your audience cannot relate to it. So if your particular audience that you are trying to reach cannot relate to the content that you're posting, i.e. the quotes, you're just falling down a black hole with your content. No one that you want to actually see your content is going to click and buy from you. So go back to your roots. Show people how you started. That's telling your brand story. How do you create a story like this for your brand? Be human, real. You're real life. You're a person. Be human. But in order to connect, brands must also choose and embrace personas. Creating conversation and talking with your audience, not at them through social media, can help you further understand them. It can make your brand appear more trustworthy and establish a sense of credibility. Everyone has a story, and if you have a good one, you should definitely tell it. How it all started, your humble beginnings. Get your audience to really become invested in the name and understanding the meaning behind it. When people create an emotional connection with something, it tends to stick with them for the sake of what it means to them rather than how big the name is. One of my baby brand is my store, my furniture store. It's called Chables, and it's a chair and table store, furniture store. The emotion, what drives it is because we focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, and we like to mention everyone deserves a seat at the table, right? We connect it. We're creating humble beginnings. We talk about who we are and why we want that to be in the forefront. Developed a store called Chatham Party. It's a community-based business. So we talk about the community, what's happening in our community. Although social media is not the best place for that particular business, marketing, we quickly found that out by, most local businesses. I like to mention this, that don't forget about the traditional marketing. Although we're talking about content right now, don't forget about the traditional marketing, the old school way of doing door hangers, and if you're a community-based business, being on local listings, because people still check those things and it's not as crowded of a space. So remember that. Examples of some eye-catching content, and I know this is probably high level, and you know that these shots are definitely ones that have been done by a photographer, but that doesn't mean that you can't create something like this too by using different software out there, specifically maybe some static photos. Be careful when using static photos though, because they can be recognizable for people that are used to seeing them. So it makes sure that it has all of the other elements, like it's positioned correctly, it's at the right time, it has good caption behind it if you are going to use static photos to create graphic design. But use eye-catching content to engage your audience. Maybe produce a long Facebook video, collect video testimonials from your company's biggest fans or messages from your colleagues, and compile them into a video montage to share on Facebook. Go live on Facebook. Being authentic is a key aspect of storytelling, like be human. And there's no other way to be more real than going live to engage with your audience. It is also a great way to reach your fans. Since Facebook ranks live videos higher in the news feed when they are live than after they end. So when you are actually going live, when you want to go live, I will promote the fact that you're going live, especially if like you're introducing a new product. Tell people maybe 48 hours ahead of time because people have short attention spans, so they're not going to remember if you only posted a week before and then it's like it goes blank. But telling them about 48 hours ahead of time and I hate to say pushing down their throats, but reminding them that you're going to go live for this, that pulling up the motivation, getting them like severe FOMO if they're going to like, hey, you're going to miss out on this if you're not checking my live. I'm going live at 12 o'clock. You see this a lot with celebrities. They do this all the time. They promote the fact that they're going to go live to talk about themselves and a new video they have or new music. But giving some pre-promotion and getting everyone excited about going live is a big deal. And Instagram, create a narrative with your Instagram caption. While a high quality image is important for an Instagram post, a captivating caption can help complete the story by sharing a narrative. Everyone knows that with content like blog, it drives search engine optimization, but also with your social media. So you'll see a lot of times now, which you should definitely try if you're going to post a picture. Let's say you have a product and your kids are using the product, it's a child's product. Maybe you want to tell the story about why the kid is using it, why your kid is using it, how it came about, what it does for the kid. And like mini blogs under your photos in your Instagram. It's captivating. People want to learn more about, maybe it's interesting, maybe it's a tug of war. It's something that gives people excitement, like, oh my gosh, they're playing tug of war, they're doing double dutch, something that people haven't seen in a while. And you write a narrative behind it, why this content is being posted, why this photo is so interesting. It tells a story. Tell a visual story with your Instagram profile. A creative way to share on Instagram is to use several posts to create a huge image on your Instagram profile. This was first done, the first time that I actually saw it was a couple of years ago by Jaden Smith. He does awesome content. This is Will Smith's son, to promote a lot of his brands. But he used this huge image, and it's oh gosh, I can't think of the app integration that you use, and it'll come to my mind before the end of the webinar. But creating a huge image on your Instagram profile to make sure that your feed looks great can add character to your feed. So when it's done well, it can look very appealing. Use a series of Instagram stories. And of course, you can tell Instagram stories all day. But even though there's no limit to the number of Instagram stories you can post a day, statistics show that posting 10 stories a day are a good amount. So you don't have to post 20. I am personally not a fan of going through someone's Instagram story for hundreds of photos. Remember that Instagram prioritizes content like stories for 24 hours only. So that if you are on that platform and that is where your target demographic is, you are going to have to post more content more often. Otherwise, people aren't going to see it. So understand image copyright. I don't have much to say about this, but I'm just going to throw it out there because I thought it was important. And if you understand image copyright, you're going to be saved a lot of time, as well as Instagram likes to block people, or people can find your content if you are reposting something that has fine print licensing and contracting issues. So you won't be seen. You see that already with music. You could be on a roll with your content and your videos, right? Getting great likes. If you use content that's provocative and not following the guidelines of your social media platforms, if it's stolen content, like if it's an image that someone wants original and you don't credit them where credit is due, they can report your photo. It's going to get taken down, and it's going to slow down your engagement. the computer for some reason, which is probably a good thing though. You could be on a roll with your content and your likes, and then you do something like this, don't follow the guidelines, and then you have to build your engagement back up from scratch. So you don't want to do that. So just remember, copywriting, give credit where credit is due, read the fine print. If you're using someone's image and they are particular about it, like credit them, at them, so that you can say who this image is by, so that you can not be put in the black hole of Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform you're using. So successful companies are consistent, nailing down a schedule, creating a content calendar, designing a workflow, answering questions immediately, automating your chat, providing great customer care, interacting with followers, creating engagement, making sure that you're liking photos and commenting inside of the conversation. The world's biggest social media brands are often running multiple campaigns at once, long, medium, and short term, paid and organic. And that's just the day-to-day post. Once you have your schedule nailed down, your glorious brain is freed up to tackle even bigger questions. Should you run an Instagram contest? Start looking for influencer partners. Maybe it's time to get your brand on LinkedIn or introduce a social media employee program. Once you have nailing down your schedule, creating a content calendar, designing a workflow, you're going to free up your mind to do more. You're going to be able to measure and see what's working and see what you can implement, and then scale maybe from one platform to another platform. And now you're running great content on both, but you have to nail down a schedule and have a design your workflow. Whether you're managing a 5-person content team or you're posting your story while mixing your cake batter for a 3 o'clock client that has a 3-tier cake that they need for a wedding, getting your social game to the next level means getting organized. Customer care is about proactively meeting your customers' needs. Social customer care is differentiated from service in that it starts before a customer reaches out to you about a product or service. This means you not only respond to complaints, but you also reward compliments. Facebook's single inbox compiles Messenger, Facebook posts, and Instagram comments into one view, i.e. Business Suite. Make sure you have your Facebook Business Suite connected in order to see these options. Social media engagement is the measurement of comments, likes, and shares. Of course, you want to rack up your followers, but ultimately, the greatest measure of social media success is an engaged audience. Why? Because people buy followers, so they'll have like 50K followers, fake ones, because again, just like I mentioned, we have 300 million profiles, right? Half of those are actually active people. Most of them are probably bots or fake accounts. Don't be afraid. With that being said, don't be afraid to get creative with post ideas, contests, asking questions. That's a huge engagement part. Having a poll. Do you like red or do you like blue? Encouraging your audience to ask questions. Try an Ask Me Anything session. Test their knowledge about your brand. Media upload contests. Upload contests about like winning something. Animated GIFs will be really good. Spotlighting customers is another great way of creating engagement, and shares, and especially if you can tag them, you're really expanding your reach. Custom stickers and filters for your Instagram stories. Maybe even with Snapchat, if you're still using it, creating a specific filter that goes with your Snapchat. Overall, the best way to figure out what content is working is to watch it and learn from it. Be a content scientist. That's just another hat you can wear. But experiment, observe the reaction, tweak it, and repeat it. Again, experiment with what works best for you, with the content, whatever platform you're using. Observe what's happening, interact with it, Tweak it if it's something that may need to be done better. Maybe it's the time. Remember the elements. Maybe it's the time you're posting. Maybe it's the content that you're deciding. Maybe, hopefully, it's not the platform. But then tweak it and repeat what you're doing over and over again. And people will start to know this is what you do. So, making the most out of the internet, take advantage of the tools available: social media channels, automated customer service, seamless e-commerce platforms, analytic tools and reporting, tailor-made user recommendations. It seems like every month there's a new social media channel that pops up. I just learned about a new one called Alignable, and I'm like, it's just like LinkedIn. It's another platform. Should you create a TikTok account? Should you go onto Clubhouse? Would Twitter work best for you, for your business? It can be tempting to be active on all of the available social media channels, but is that the right course of action? No, not immediately. Start somewhere, get your strategy, tweak it, repeat it, and then expand. Instead, it's best to strategically choose the right social media channel for your business. Going through the process of creating a social media strategy will help you determine which channels are best for your business. For instance, when a customer interacts with your business, like submitting a form, reaches out to you via live chat, sends you an email, remember your Facebook automation and maybe your constant contact automation. It's all important. And constant contact has great email automation, by the way. And most of them all do, but I definitely would love for you to get into making sure that things are automated. It's all important to save time and give customers consistent, trustworthy answers. Your customer journey is important for any e-commerce platform. What does that look like? How can you convert website visitors to adding to cart to actual customers? A seamless e-commerce platform is the way to do it. You do not want any chinks in that chain. You don't want anyone getting lost in the navigation of your platform. We discussed analytics a couple of webinars ago, but putting strategies in place, running them for days, checking what works best, analyzing the data, and repeating it. Your data, your analytic tools, which if you have your Shopify store, they have great analytics, but adding Google Analytics to your website is important. And then, of course, if you are definitely using content for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, check your analytics reports regularly. See what cities they're coming from. You only can do this, though, with a business page. So make sure that you have a business page in place, no matter what social media platform you have, in order to see those analytics. Adding user recommendations and reviews also is critical to provide trust. Shopify does this, but also adding this to your email and text strategy and adding reviews to your site are very important. People want to be told what to buy. All right, so if they say I'm looking for something for my dad, they're going to go on the internet. They probably don't know what to buy for their dad yet, but if you can tell them to buy this for their dad, it makes the process so much easier for them. And then if you have recommendations that it works well, it's even better. So adapt to different platforms. 1, see how other profiles are created. 2, gauge the audience tastes and preferences. And 3, build a profile app for that specific profile platform. So having good social media profiles can give you more exposure online, help you connect with your fans or your customers, and improve your online reputation. Unless you have a major site associated with your name, your social media profiles are usually the first results Google shows when someone searches for you. Start thinking of each social media profile you create as a landing page for your brand. Your social media profiles are possibly the first encounter that someone is going to have with your brand, and you want that first impression to make the visitor interested in knowing more about you. There are lots of benefits when social media marketers understand their social media demographics. When you have a clear idea of the different audiences using each platform and the potential audience each platform can reach, you can reach the right audience, engage the audience, craft compelling messages, fine tune your marketing strategy. And simply, the best social media marketers, business owners, they know where their audience is active online, so you don't have to waste time with being in different places all at once. And that helps brands choose the right social platform to attack first. Research shows that you can check who appears in your social searches for those keywords, find out what similar brands your audience follows, choose up to 5 competitors to focus on, see what they're doing, what social media platforms are they on, how large is their following, how fast is it growing, who are their top followers, how often do they post, what is their engagement rate, what is their social voice, what hashtags do they use most often, how many hashtags do they use? Going online, creating a profile, having a business, and not researching your competitors is like buying a home in a neighborhood at a certain price and not looking at the comps. And now you have a home that you probably paid too much for. So you don't know the value. So maybe check out like 5 of your competitors. Some of them may be in your market, some of them not. See what they're doing. Ask yourself their question. Ask yourself those questions. How large is their following? What type of content are they posting? Research your competitors. It doesn't make sense going into a business, whether social media or any business, any part of your business, without knowing who your competitors are and what they're doing and if it's working. So, how great brands deal with customers. They interact with their followers. You're, like I mentioned, engaging with your followers is going to be critical. They have quick response to the inquiries. So if people are sending you messages, asking you questions, no matter if it's in your feed, in your live, answer them quickly. Swift order, taking in assistance. You don't have your shipping strategy is seamless. They are receiving their products when they say they are, and if they're not, you have messaging in place that's telling them, hey, we have some COVID-19 shipping delays. Your product is going to get to you later than expected, with something there to make sure that they can ease that shopping anxiety is going to be critical. They get ahead of their needs. Whatever your customer needs, knowing what your customer needs. Let's say you are having body butter, or you create some type of makeup and it's Halloween. You know when your customer is going to need your product the most. It's getting winter time. Getting ahead of that is going to be great if you have a body butter. You know Halloween is coming. You sell makeup. People have they do their faces for makeup and flamboyantly during that season. Getting ahead of that, knowing what customer needs, knowing what they want, is what brands do to really appeal to their customers. Delivering on promises. If you're going to do something 50% off, you're going to do it until a certain date, you deliver. If you're going, like I mentioned about the shipping, if you offer free shipping, if you offer 2-day shipping and you know that that's your shipping time, delivering on that promise is critical to creating brand trust. Keeping the customers delighted. Maybe you add a sticker to your shipping. Maybe your boxing that your product is in is brings a wow factor. Whatever that is, it delights your customers. So where brands start? Of course, the top sites, like I mentioned, were Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I like to loop in Instagram in there because Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same people. So you get like a 2-for-1 deal. So if you are going to be on Facebook, automatically get on Instagram, have a profile there. You may not need to post the same content on both platforms, but remember to take in consideration about the sizing, the dimensions, the type of content, where your audience is, and because sometimes that content will not go onto your social media site, the Instagram social media site. It won't be relevant to their audience, or it just may not fit. So how brands work online. An example, this is just an example of an online schedule. So first you're choosing your photos and creating designs. This is all after you choose the correct platform. You're writing effective copy. Whether you hire someone to do your copywriting or if you do it yourself, it's effective. Remember, do your keywords, research your competitors. Uploading your content. What time are you uploading your content? Is it at peak hours? Connecting with your followers. Remember, engaging with them after you upload your content. If it's working and they're commenting and they're liking your work, if you're doing video and you're going live, you're going to connect with them. So, say their names, add them in the comments, like or heart their particular comment that they had. Make sure that you have customer service if they ask a question. And then choosing testimonials, coming back and saying, hey, this worked. I'm going to post a review from my a customer that bought this. I'm going to actually post the actual customer, asking them to, after I ask them to send me a photo or they tag me in their photo, I'm going to reshare it. So using those testimonials is going to be critical to give you some brand trust. But remembering how the process goes for an online schedule, what you need to put in place ahead of time for your content, it is definitely going to help you out in the long run. So we've come to the end. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm under my name, Adrienne McFarland. Well, I'd love to talk to you about your marketing. You can email me if you want to set up some time to talk. I'm here for the rest of the month, so definitely reach out to the TSBDC and talk to your advisor, and they can schedule some time for you and I to get on the calendar to talk about your social media strategy and your content development. But I just want to leave you by saying that any content that you decide to post, whether that's a video, whether that's a graphic design, whether that's going live, reels, whatever it is, make sure that it speaks to your target audience and you do the research on your competitors. You can't lose any time with doing that. Just because you know exactly what's happening in your industry and where your people are. Remember to engage with them, see what's happening, see what's working with your social strategy. After you put it into place, make sure you do it for a while. You're going to have to do this for 30 days or so. Put that into place. Make sure you plan it out, see what's working, analyze it, repeat it. If you have questions, I want to open the floor. I'm going to stop my screen share and see what you guys are talking about. Put your question in the chat, or you can just come off of mute. I'm open to talking. Like we haven't spoken on the phone, or we do these Zoom calls all the time, and we don't realize that we can actually talk to one another. So you can take your phone, your Zoom off mute and ask questions as well. But I see some of the questions in the chat. So what are peak times for posting? Well, Emma, it depends on your target audience. For me, depending on who you're looking to speak with, could be, let's say you're posting things that like for a car, like for a man. And he loves his cars and he has time to downtime. I would say maybe weekends, 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe overnight. And so that your content, people that like to lay in the bed maybe at 9 o'clock and see things, like moms, excuse me, like moms that don't really get a lot of downtime until, excuse me, I know where my water is, until late at night. You want to know that for your target audience. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Quotes can be engaging when it is related to your services and products. Jesus. When it's related to your service and products. Definitely, it can be engaging when it's related to your service and products, but it's not unique from my experience. But if it's working for you, by all means, use it, especially if you are if it's working for you, definitely use it. But from my experience with my brands, especially resurfacing quotes that have been used over and over, it doesn't drive a lot of engagement for me, but it just depends on what works for you. Making this a good, I need this going to forward and open to help. I think this is what I need this going for. Definitely, thank you. Any questions about your content? Anybody want to share what they have done in the previous times, what worked for them? Have you ever done shoppertainment? Have you ever going live to introduce a new product? Anyone? Okay. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions, Tammy. We can send this recording out. Um, and again, if you want to connect with me, by all means, you can follow me on LinkedIn, send me a message, send an email. If you want to have a meeting to talk about your content strategy, definitely contact TSBDC and they can set up some time for us to meet.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Adrienne. As always, this was wonderful, wonderful information. I feel like there may not be a lot of questions right now because you covered so much and you were so detailed. So we really appreciate that. Like Adrienne said, if you do think of something you need one-on-one help with or a question you may have later, you have her contact information now. And also feel free to reach out to your TSBDC counselor and they can put you in contact so you can have one-on-one time with Adrienne. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning, and make sure if you have not already signed up for Thursday's merchant roundtable, go sign up for that on the TSBDC website. That is unfortunately our last one with Adrienne for this month to round out the workshop series that's just been awesome. Like she said, this recording will be sent out, and hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, everybody.